Hello, thank you for viewing this video. This video is on setup communications for AMS100. Why communications setup? Because we have software to communicate to our analyzers, and so basically two computers that have to communicate with each other. So there are specific parameters that are important here in order to for communications to be successful. What this video will do is explain those parameters and how you work with AMS100 to get those parameters configured successfully so that AMS will communicate with the analyzer. For AMS100 to successfully communicate with the analyzer, we need to know certain information about the analyzer. And we do that this way. We press mode 2 in order to find out the firmware version that is within the analyzer. For our SS500, 1000, 2000, 3000, it must be 2.41 or later. For the ARM9 analyzers, it must be version 5.10 or later. We then need to log on with the user password 3142 and step down with the enter key until we get to the Modbus settings within the analyzer. Modbus address. We need to make a note what the Modbus address is for the analyzer. We then step down to Modbus mode. Now for Modbus communications, this parameter must be set to 1. So if it is not already on 1, we need to change it to 1. If it's an SS500 to 3000, we are finished. We can go back to normal mode with mode 1. If it is an ARM9 analyzer, we must page further down until we see what the baud rate setting is for the analyzer and make a note of that. And then we are through with that analyzer. When you open AMS100, the setup page or window is the first window that you see. This is the page that is used to define the type of communications that you will use to interface to the analyzer. Basically, step 1 is to access the version field and use the down arrow to select the version of firmware that is in the analyzer. In this case, version 2.41. After you have selected the version, you would then click on Apply to install that particular firmware configuration into AMS. The next step, if you chose to do so, is you can use the new name field to actually edit the name of the analyzer if you plan on this being a specific analyzer to always be used with AMS100. Once you have selected the version and named the analyzer, we then can address the specific communication parameters over on the right side of the page. The active field should say yes, and use the down arrows on each of these for your selection process. Here you enter the Modbus address in the Modbus address field to match the analyzer Modbus address. You decide whether your communications link is a serial link or an IP interface or even a modem interface. So you can select a serial 1 interface or serial 2 interface. If your PC had 2 serial ports, you actually could be configured to 2 analyzers cable at the same time. If your interface is Ethernet, you must define the IP address for that analyzer or for the Ethernet gateway to get to that analyzer. You merely click on this and enter the IP address in the edit box and then click on OK. You must set up the IP port if it is Ethernet. The next option of interest is report option, which typically would be report all records. This is for your history later, which you'll understand from the operations video when you want to export data to go into Excel. The modem port, serial 1 port, serial 2 port fields are used to define the specific COM port that will be used for your interface selection up above. For example, we are set up for serial 1 interface, So we must define the COM port to be used or associated with serial 1. Now, this, if you're using a USB to serial converter, you would need to determine from the device manager on your PC or determine which COM port is assigned to your USB to serial converter. And last, the serial configuration field must reflect the baud rate of the analyzer you are going to communicate to. If it is an SS500, 1000, 2000, 3000, by definition it is 9600 baud. If it is an SS2100 analyzer, then the baud rate is a setting in the analyzer itself, and you must use the drop down here to select the appropriate baud rate. Once you have made all your configuration changes on the right side of this page, you click on Apply again to install those changes. You now have successfully set up your communications for the analyzer that you wish to interface to. So this concludes the communications related setup video. The other videos, the operations video and other diagnostic videos can and will reference this video for the initial communications phase. Thank you so much for viewing this video on communications setup for AMS100. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us at service@spectrasensors.com.